If you're coming off of the holiday season, entering the new year, or really any period of indulgence, you might be noticing bloating or brain fog, just an overall feeling of sluggishness. Or with your skin, you might be noticing breakouts. Maybe your skin feels more sensitive, more dry and flaky. And the tendency reaction to all of these things can be like, oh my gosh, I have to fix all of this. I need to do a detox. And today I want to frame detox in a different way. Detox is a natural process that is essential. And so detoxing isn't like a bad thing, but the way that we look at detox can be a little bit backward. And today I want to frame that in a different way so that we're working with our body rather than against our body. And after today's episode, I think you're going to have some really actionable steps that can make you feel better quicker.
You are listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality, the podcast where ancient wisdom meets modern vitality. If you are seeking to reconnect with your innate vibrancy, you're in the right place. I'm Emily Davis, a seasoned holistic esthetician and herbalist. Join me as we unlock the secrets of ancient skincare practices, explore the beauty of seasonal and nature-based living, herbalism, and true holistic well-being for you and the broader ecosystem. This podcast is brought to you by Stratum Aesthetics. Head to stratumaesthetics.com to find curated skincare, body care, and other wellness products hand-selected by me. Now enjoy the show. Please remember that the information I share in this podcast is based on my personal and professional experience and is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not individualized skincare advice, nor is it medical advice. I encourage you to take charge of your own health decisions and listen to your body, seeking out the resources and professionals that best support your wellness journey.
So welcome back into the episode. If you're new here, my name is Emily. I'm an herbalist and a holistic esthetician, and I talk about ways to live better, to feel better, to feel more beautiful in your skin and in your life. If this is a resonant topic to you, make sure that you subscribe and like this video. And I will be talking about some topical products that can support during this time near the end of the episode, which of course can all be purchased in my online apothecary. But before we get into that, let's talk about what actually is detox anyways, because it's not necessarily something that you purchase. It's not a juice cleanse. It's not something that you do. It's something that your body does naturally, because during normal living conditions, there are molecules and metabolic products that need to naturally leave the body. And this includes byproducts from digestion, fermentation byproducts. It includes hormones that were produced and they did their job, and now it's time for them to be cleared. If there's an inflammatory response, like if you get sick or if you cut yourself or whatever happens and there's an inflammatory response, there's molecules that are sent out into the body, and those can tend to linger if they're not cleared out naturally. And then, of course, living in our modern world, we have environmental exposures, air pollution, water pollution, plastic byproducts, all of the things that we're exposed to that enter our body that aren't supposed to be there. And so those need to be cleared out as well. And this is part of our body's natural detoxification process. And so when you're feeling bloated or foggy, or if you're experiencing acne or whatever it may be, it's not because your body just suddenly forgot how to detox. It's because the systems and the organs that are responsible are either under-resourced and maybe they're getting underwhelmed, and so they're slowing down. Some examples of this, think about bile. Bile is a digestive fluid that our liver produces, and all of these products that need to be cleared out of the body stick to the bile and dissolve in the bile, and the bile is responsible for clearing them out. But if we're stressed, if we're dehydrated, which can come from, not drinking enough fluids, but also mineral imbalance and alcohol. Stress is dehydrating. Foods can be dehydrating. Lack of sleep, all of these things can actually slow down the bile. And when this happens, the liver keeps working, but things that need to be cleared out aren't being done so very efficiently. Other examples, think about lymph. It's another fluid in your body that's responsible for waste clearance, but because of maybe lack of movement, again, dehydration, inflammation is a big factor. This can all slow down lymph and slow down the movement and slow down the clearance. So it's not that your body doesn't know how to detox, it's that certain lifestyle habits or periods of maybe unfavorable habits can slow down the process, and that's when you start to not feel as good because all of these products are circulating in your system still. And so when we're not feeling good, we want to know what we can do. And so there's two, I guess we could call it cultures of extremes that I see in internet land of, what to do. And one of them is the 75 hard approach of just fix the machine. And then the other approach is the soft girl era where it's your body knows what to do, you don't need to do anything. And I think that there's a place in the middle. Of course, I always try to find nuance within these things, and there's no shade to either of those because I have done the 75 hard and it's actually not that extreme, aside from drinking a gallon of water every day, I think is a little extreme. But the 75 hard itself, you're actually able to choose everything that you're doing. So it doesn't have to be super extreme. But all of that to say, there's this hard way of approaching your body and this soft way of approaching your body. And I think that this is where the conversation about detox kind of goes off the rails, because that hard approach is going to treat your body like it's something that needs to be controlled. There's a purification and a punishment aspect to it, and there's a whole industry around it. I used to get these skinny Detox teas in my 20s, and there was a whole program with it where you basically didn't eat at all. You just drank these teas that also gave you IBS, and I just feel this is where the conversation goes really wrong, and that's not how we lean into the natural detoxification that our body is glorious at. It's amazing. Our bodies are these incredibly amazing design. Detox doesn't need to be a hack. And then on the other side of the coin, we have this passive, almost apathetic feeling towards our body and towards our health and our vitality. And I feel this soft approach, or your soft girl era approach, can kind of dissolve any structure or responsibility that we have toward this vessel that we have been given to walk this earth with. So I'm kind of bored with both of those messages. I've done them both and it doesn't feel good to me. And this is where vitalism comes in. Vitalism is the philosophy that we work with in holistic herbalism, and it's this philosophy and attitude that the body is a living system with innate intelligence. And it's not necessarily a corrective intervention, but instead it's about creating the conditions that let our body self-heal. This is the difference with looking at your body like a machine and looking at it like an organic living system. With a machine, more input is going to lead to more output. So in your car, put the foot on the gas pedal and then you're going to go faster. But we're not cars, and more pressure is often going to lead to defensive contraction. And so, what happens when we have this contraction because we're putting more stress or more pressure on our body through something like an aggressive detox where you're just drinking a tea and not like nourishing yourself, you're going to see like bowel movements become erratic. And that's a huge sign of health, is having like regular bowel movements. That is so important. Your sleep can become fragmented. Maybe your nervous system is more dysregulated. Maybe your skin, you're starting to see breakouts and dryness and sensitivity. And so instead of creating this pressure, what vitalism does is it really just supports the terrain so that your body can have what it needs. It can be well resourced enough to do the natural detox that it's meant to do. And so how do we actually create this terrain that's going to support this flowy detox that happens every single day on an ongoing basis? There's several conditions that we can make sure are present. The first one is warmth. Warmth is going to, especially with your digestion, warmth is going to reduce the energy needed to heat things up, and that energy can go to detoxification. So, if you're waking up and drinking an ice cold glass of water first thing in the morning, the body has to use quite a bit of metabolic energy to warm that up. Or if you're eating a cold smoothie first thing in the morning, which, we think of that as like, oh, I'm doing my detox smoothie, but actually it's taking energy away from doing the detox to warm that up so it can be digested. Raw salads, same thing. So we want to do warm, easy to digest food when we're trying to get back on track. And that can look like warm soups, warm broth, just waking up and having some warm lemon water first thing in the morning. Or even like warming herbs like ginger, cardamom. So the next factor, I've got 6 factors. So the second factor is regular meal timing and rhythm within your life. If you're eating at regular times, your body starts to anticipate when it's going to need to digest. And so this can strengthen things like stomach acid and digestive enzymes and all of the fluids that we need for appropriate digestion, which is so important for this natural detox process to happen. When you have irregular eating, you can often have incomplete digestion, or I'm also thinking of not chewing your food thoroughly. This can also lead to incomplete digestion. So just these little simple things can make a huge difference. The next is movement and circulation. So we need movement in order for blood to flow, in order for lymph to flow, and detoxification is all about transport. It relies on circulation because we have to move the waste products through tissue. And so when we have stagnation, it can tend to stall that natural flow. Number 3 on this list is a well-resourced nervous system. So when you're stressed out, your body is going to sense threat. And so it's going to deprioritize all of the other functions that are happening in order to address that threat. And so having a well-resourced nervous system can help you just adapt to stress better. So some things that I really love for this are regular yoga nidra practice, which I love on YouTube. There's a girl called Ali Boothroyd. I absolutely love her yoga nidra. And yoga nidra is this intentional form of deep rest where you're getting all of the benefits of sleep for your nervous system while you're awake. And it's a cousin to meditation, except for it doesn't require really anything from you. You're totally passive. And I have just found that doing this every afternoon has made such a huge difference in the way that I react to stress. Another thing that I love, especially in the moment of stress, is EFT tapping, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And so this is utilizing different acupressure points and different like affirmations that you're saying, acknowledging the stress that you're in right now, but also knowing that you can move past it. You can do what you need to do to move past it. I've used it for grief. I've used it for anxiety and panic attacks. On YouTube, I love this guy tapping with Brad. And I just find EFT tapping to be super, super supportive. And then, of course, there's so many herbs that can help support your nervous system. I love a category of herbs called nervines, which are going to help support the nervous system. Some of my favorite herbs include passion flower, milky oat seed tincture. I love chamomile. Rose is a beautiful nervine herb. Also adaptogens. So adaptogens are hot right now, but they're a type of herb that help you to adapt better to stress. So things like ashwagandha can be really supportive if it's the right herb for you. Schisandra berry, I love because it also actually helps support both phase 1 and phase 2 detox, which is both the breaking down of components and then also the clearance out of these components. Tulsi or holy basil is a beautiful adaptogen that can support the nervous system. So many, many herbal supports out there. Next up is hydration and elimination support. So when I say elimination support, I mean things like fiber and minerals. And these are all so important because waste needs to exit. And if you're not hydrated, you're not going to have regular bowel movements. If you don't have enough minerals, you're not going to be hydrated. You're also not going to be having adequate bowel movements. Fiber, of course, is also really helpful here. I know that there's such a popular trend happening on TikTok right now about beans and like fiber, I think is the new protein. I'm not on social media anymore, so I don't know like what all of the trends are, but I heard from my clients about how like fiber loading is the new big thing. And I think obviously balance is always important, but I think fiber wasn't getting the attention that it needed. So I am glad to hear that. And then finally, the conditions that support detox, the last on the list, number 6, is sleep. Deep sleep is going to restore liver function. And so all of these conditions that I just talked about are like baseline to support the terrain. You need to think about having all of those in place before you start doing cleanses or whatever else you want to do to support your detox. But there are things, once you have those in place, there are many tools and modalities that I incorporate in my own life that I think are really supportive. Maybe they have either evidence-based or there's like ancestral use of different items. And so I do want to talk about some of these targeted supports as well. The first one is castor oil packs. I carry a beautiful castor oil pack on my online apothecary. You can check it out. I'll put the link in the notes here, but it's stratumaesthetics.com. Castor oil is rich in what's called ricinoleic acid, and what that does is it increases that circulation. We talked about how circulation is so important for detoxification. It's going to increase blood flow to your liver. It's going to help support lymphatic movement. And castor oil is really just this like thick, sticky oil, and I like to put it on an organic pack, and so you can buy the bundle together and then you place it over your liver. There's many other uses for castor oil, and so I did actually a whole episode about castor oil that I will link, but that's one that I just really enjoy. I use it a couple of nights a week, and I do feel that it's supportive. The next one is sauna. Again, getting that circulation moving, incorporating warmth. This is something that people have been doing for eons, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason you feel so good after a sauna session. The next one is deep breathing, which really should go in like the baseline section. We should all be practicing deep breathing every single day. But deep breathing is a targeted support because it's actually helping to move lymph. Our lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, and so our muscles are the pump. And when we're breathing deeply with our diaphragm, with our lungs, this is working as the pump for moving lymph through the body. It's also going to help to nourish our nervous system, helping to settle the nervous system. Self-massage. I talk about Abhyanga on this channel ad nauseum, but I think that self-massage is one of the most important things that you can do, something that should be done several times a week. Self-massage is going to increase circulation. It's going to help with lymphatic flow. Abdominal self-massage, so massaging in a clockwise direction over your belly is going to help with digestion. It's also going to help to settle the nervous system. There's so many benefits to self-massage that I just think it shouldn't be slept on. And then herbs. I'm an herbalist, so obviously I want to talk about all of the beautiful herbs that can support detoxification, that can support your liver. Bitters are definitely one that can increase bile flow. We talked about bile before. It's that digestive fluid that waste products are going to attach themselves to and dissolve into, and it's going to help eliminate them out of the body. And our body actually has receptors all throughout the digestive system for bitters. And examples of bitters include a dandelion root, yellow dock root, burdock, Oregon grape. Chamomile can actually be a bitter if it's steeped for a long period of time, but also just eating bitter foods. So things like bitter melon, radicchio is one of my favorites, endive, arugula. Getting these bitter foods into your diet is key. And it's not just about bitters. Digestive herbs can be really supportive. There's an Ayurvedic tea called CCF, so that's cumin, cardamom, and fennel. And you can just buy these separately and make your own CCF tea, or you can buy them together. There's also an Ayurvedic herbal blend called Triphala, which I get Triphala powder from Pavani Ayurvedic, and I put it in warm water and drink it most nights after dinner. But this is amazing because it's going to very gently support elimination without being a laxative or without like forcing your bowels. So those are some of my favorite herbs to support detoxification. I think that including those in a healthy lifestyle can be super supportive, but of course, not thinking that you're gonna out herb or out supplement or out coffee enema a lifestyle that's not supporting that natural detox process. And so this brings us to skin. Skin isn't a primary detox organ. That's going to be things like your liver, your kidneys, but skin is highly responsive, and it's really responsive to the slowdown and the backup that we might be seeing. And so potentially when you're experiencing acne, when you're experiencing a lot of inflammation, maybe like rash on your skin, or I've talked about like dryness and flakiness, or even if it's just feeling really sensitive, this could be a sign that your skin is responding to a slowdown with your natural detox. And so there are some topical products. Obviously, again, just like herbs and supplements, we're not going to out skincare a lifestyle that's not supportive. But there are some topical products that we can use to work from the outside in as we're working from the inside out. And so 3 of my favorites, one is the detox mask from Laurel. This is like my secret ingredient when somebody comes into my treatment room and they have a lot of breakouts. It just almost immediately flattens and takes down the redness, and people are always amazed. So this has clay, it has seaweed, it has alterative herbs, which are things like burdock and dandelion, and it actually also has echinacea, which is going to support the immune response in the skin. Echinacea is like my favorite ingredient for acne, but this detox mask, especially with the seaweed, is going to help faster healing, help relieve congestion in the skin. My second favorite product for if you're feeling the post-holiday skin blues is the Live Botanicals Oasis Enzyme Mask. And so this is a plant-based enzyme. It's a cranberry enzyme, which is going to be a very gentle exfoliation that's not going to disrupt your barrier or your skin's microbiome, but it also is really rich in antioxidants that help to reduce hyperpigmentation. So if you tend to get dark spots after a breakout that linger, I love, love, love this mask for that. And then third is my ride or die product, the one that I literally cannot live without, and that's the Laurel Unburdened Serum. So this is a serum, it's an oil-based serum that I personally use as my daily moisturizer that's actually filled with herbs that are supportive for lymphatic movement when applied topically to the skin. It also helps to increase the integrity of your skin's barrier. And so I've just found that ever since I started using that, I literally rarely ever get breakouts, and so I'm never gonna let that one go. But you can purchase all of these in my online curated apothecary. I've been an esthetician for 19 years this year, and so I've spent 19 years vetting products, learning about ingredients, learning about how skincare ingredients interact with the skin's biology, and always, always with respect to the integrity of your skin's barrier and your skin's microbiome, because those are like baseline for healthy skin. And so, like I said, topical products are amazing for reducing that surface burden, but actual change is going to come from restoring flow to your system. You don't have to feel like you need to just like go balls to the wall and totally undo December. Instead, just think of this like you had a party and now it's time to put the house back together. If this was supportive to you, it would mean so much to me if you would subscribe and like this video, but also send this to a friend who would find it valuable. If you like what I talk about and you want more, you can sign up for my newsletter, Moonday Notes. It's a weekly love letter from me to you that pops into your inbox every Monday, and I will be back next week. So until then, be well.
You've been listening to Skin, Earth, Vitality. If you like what you heard today, consider giving me a 5-star rating. It helps other people just like you to find the show. You can shop products and find all of my offerings on my website, stratumaesthetics.com, and follow me on my social channels @Stratum Aesthetics.